like, in the beginning, again, in the first months of the Intifada, I had, in the first month, a friend of mine, he's now my brother-in-law. He was working in this village, and the village was surrounded, under siege. They couldn't leave, even on foot. And settlers would come and attack the village every night or every other night. And I went there. I moved there. This village called Haris. I didn't initially move there. Initially, I went there I tried to grab whoever I could and told the army, we're Israelis here, we're internationals here. Don't shoot. Or the settlers are attacking. The settlers are shooting at us. You have to stop them, because when the settlers would attack the village, the army and the police were protecting them. And then I was invited to speak at a demonstration in Italy, and I went for 3 days. And while I was away, a 13-year-old boy from the village that I, got to know was murdered by a soldier. So then when I came back, I moved there. And that's kind of how I started that. And in December 2000, that was the first kind of ISM. We hadn't called it ISM then, but then we called Israelis and internationals to come for a nonviolent action, and we marched in Beit Sahur to the military base in Beit Sahur that was shelling Beit Sahur. And we marched to the military base, and there were Israelis.
A naive question: why were they shelling Beit Sahur?
Well, no, it's not. I mean, I was thinking I should explain that there was a military base in Beit Sahur, and in the beginning, of the Palestinian uprising, like the very beginning, the Palestinians were not using arms. It was non-violent, and there were riots. There was stone throwings, but it was a popular resistance. And Israel systematically was just shooting into the crowds and killing people. After the number of Palestinians killed was around 80, armed militants started also, shooting back, and they were shooting towards the military base and towards the settlement. There were Palestinian militants shooting towards the military base and towards the settlement there, trying to get this with the message of having this military base and settlements removed. And the military base would shell back in response. But it would shell civilian areas, demolish civilian houses, kill civilians. The response was not proportionate, and there was no reason for the military base and the settlement to be there in the first place. The military base in Beit Sahur that we marched to, it wasn't defending any. It was Palestinian land all around. It was a base that had existed there since the British Mandate, and they just used it for training. So when we got to the gate of the base, and we were like Israelis and internationals and 300 Palestinians from Beit Sahur, they didn't even have a guard at the gate, because they were so sure that no Palestinian would dare come near, because they would be killed, in a second. So they didn't even have a guard. So we were like standing at the gate. I remember like chanting, "Go back home," and there was like nobody to go back home. And so finally Ghassan and Doni said, "Okay, let's walk in slowly." And we walked right into the middle of the base before they even, saw that we were there. And then they didn't know what to do, because there were Israelis and internationals, and they, threatened violence. And Ghassan read a letter that we had prepared asking them to leave. And then on our way out, a French activist there was a Palestinian boy with a flag, and I was really afraid for him. So I asked him what he wanted to do. Anyway, the French activist took the flag and walked up on the watchtower and put the Palestinian flag on the watchtower of the military base. And
Wow.
Yeah, the Palestinians were very happy about that, feeling they had somehow reclaimed their land. And then we left. And on Israeli TV, it was really like they put it on Israeli TV, and they were like, in the middle of the Al-Aqsa Intifada, a Palestinian flag on an Israeli military base. And the question is how? Like, how did the soldiers allow them to do this? Like, the guy was really like, how come they didn't shoot these people, And the answer is that it was because we were together. And if it was Palestinians alone, they would definitely shoot them dead, like, not without a without thinking.
So this was when the idea of the ISM finally came about, to bring internationals in to help.
This is the first action of the ISM, and immediately afterwards we called people for a second camp.